After my wife went on a business trip for 2 months, I became a father. My wife and I are childhood friends. We have lived together for 3 years and she has never let me touch her. She said that the most precious things should be saved for the wedding night. I believed it. That day, on her way back from a business trip, she hinted that she wanted to be my real woman. I was so happy, but a pregnancy test strip fell out of her pocket. Early pregnancy. This test paper is mainly used to check early conception and can be used for testing 30 to 45 days after sexual intercourse. I looked at the test paper in my hand and my mind went blank. I was completely dumbfounded. My wife and I live together, but we have never had sex together, and she has been on business trips for the past 2 months. What happened to this thing that fell out of her pocket? Did he cheat on me? Or am I overthinking? She had clearly said before that she wanted to save the most precious things for the wedding night, but today she suddenly called me and said that she wanted to be my real woman, and she couldn't wait to take a shower as soon as she came back. Could it be that? The more I thought about it, the more something seemed wrong. The more I thought about it, the more lush the grassland above me seemed. The sound of running water in the bathroom suddenly stopped. I hurriedly put the test paper back into my wife's pocket and tried to pretend that nothing had happened. My wife came out wrapped in a bath towel, and I pretended to pick up her coat casually. "Bow, shall I go wash the clothes?" My wife, who was blow-drying her hair, hadn't even uttered the word okay when her expression suddenly changed and she snatched the clothes from my hand. "Don't wash it yet." After she finished speaking, she seemed to feel something was wrong and quickly adjusted her expression. "I have some random notes in my pocket that I haven't sorted out yet. I'll wash them when I get back and sort them out." As she spoke, she gave me an ambiguous smile. "Okay, I know you love me. You've been doing all the housework and spoiling me. I've figured it out. Sooner or later, I'll give it to you. Why not do it today as a reward for you?" Without waiting for me to say anything, she pushed me into the bathroom and said she would wait for me in the room. In the bathroom, when she wasn't paying attention, I saw through the crack in the door that she took out a test paper from her pocket, breathed a sigh of relief, then tore the test paper into pieces and threw it into the bottom layer of the trash can. There's a ghost. There's definitely something fishy going on here. Seeing this scene, my anger soared to the sky, and I had the urge to rush out and get to the bottom of it regardless of the consequences. However, I finally forced myself to calm down. A test paper can't prove anything. After taking a shower, I told my wife that the company's server was down and I needed to go back to work overtime, and then I walked out the door regardless of her stunned expression. The company was particularly quiet on weekends. I sat at my workstation and began to think about how to start investigating my wife's affairs. Although we have been engaged since childhood and I love her terribly, I will never tolerate or forgive cheating on her. My wife Sophia is a product manager for a company, and I am a programmer for another company. We are familiar with each other's circle of friends. I thought about it for the whole afternoon, but I couldn't figure out who would be the one if she did something wrong to me. The more I thought about it, the more upset I became, so I simply asked my boss for a month-long vacation and planned to get things straight. I was lost in thought at the company until late at night, and then I returned home with dark circles under my eyes. Not long after I lay down, the door opened, and my wife slipped into my bed, hugged me tightly, and kissed me. A single man and a single woman are in the same room, and the woman is his wife who has been engaged since childhood. Which man would not have some thoughts? In the past, I always tried to find ways to break through the last line, by coaxing, deceiving, or even forcing myself, but the result was that I was scolded and ignored for several days. The most terrifying time was when I was almost disabled and had to attack. It's a bit strange that he is so proactive today. Thinking of this, the fire that was aroused in my heart was instantly extinguished. No, I'm too tired. My boss scolded me today while I was changing the code. I'm mentally broken now and I don't have the energy to think at all. Seeing me pushing her away, my wife was stunned. Then she wrapped herself around me like a water snake and acted coquettishly in my ears. "Hubby, but I really want it. You love me so much, you won't let me down, right?" The more she acted like this, the more I felt like something was wrong. "Baby, I'm really tired. Let me have a good sleep." As I said this, I pushed my wife away again. Seeing this, my wife had no choice but to respond without any interest, but she said that she would sleep in the same bed with me from today on. No matter how I looked at it, it seemed like she had to make me a father. The next day, I pretended nothing happened and made breakfast diligently. While eating breakfast, he casually asked, "Bow, who are the people on this business trip? Men or women?" My wife paused for a moment while picking up the food with her chopsticks. At that moment, I saw a flash of panic in her eyes. "Me and my boss, a man." As she spoke, her face became serious. "You never asked me who I was traveling with before, why do you suddenly care? Don't you have any ideas? Let me tell you, my boss's daughter is almost as old as me, older than my dad. Even if I'm willing, he doesn't want fame. Seeing this, I hurriedly coaxed him, baby, what are you talking about? I doubt anyone but you. We have been engaged since childhood. It's just a casual question. Just pretend I didn't say anything. The wife knew when to stop and didn't bother with the issue anymore. After dinner, I drove her to the company, then drove around and parked the car opposite their company to observe secretly. I observed her like this for more than a week and found nothing abnormal. My wife always kept a sufficient distance from the opposite sex in any situation. It seems that I was overthinking it. Maybe she bought the test paper for a friend and was afraid that I would misunderstand, so she was so nervous. After all, she grew up with me. Even though she has a bad temper, she would blush even when telling a dirty joke. How could she possibly betray me? That day, my wife said there was a company dinner, and I waited in the car for them to finish. When she called me to pick her up, I felt like I was overthinking it, and couldn't help feeling guilty for my previous suspicion. But the next second, reality slapped me hard in the face. According to the distance, I would have to wait half an hour after the phone call before I could appear in front of my wife, so I sat in the car and watched her wait outside the hotel from a distance. Just after all of his wife's colleagues had left, a man in a suit suddenly walked over and hugged his wife. Just when I thought she had met a hooligan and was about to rush over, I saw from afar that the man put his hand into my wife's collar. There was no panic expression on the wife's face, nor did she shout. Instead, she gave the man a charming look. The two men's movements and expressions were intimate and their actions were skillful, and it was obvious that the man was not a hooligan. In the car, I saw two people being affectionate with each other, and I wanted to rush over countless times, but I held back in the end. It's not that I'm reluctant to break up with Sophia, but I don't want them to get away with it. I want them to pay a heavy price for this. The two of them felt that hanging out on the street was not enough, so my wife called me and said that her best friend had something urgent to ask her, so she couldn't wait to go to the hotel. I suppressed my anger and returned home, thinking about what to do next. More than an hour later, my wife came back. She seemed to be in a good mood and went to take a shower humming a song as soon as she came back. I used to think she was too clean by taking a shower right after returning home, but now I realized that it was to wash away any evidence that might be discovered by me. I glanced at her cell phone, which she had casually placed on the table, and immediately picked it up to check, but found nothing unusual. This was obviously not normal. As a programmer, I soon discovered that her phone had a clone system turned on. After logging in and opening WeChat, I found that there was only one friend named Good Brother. The two of them had thousands of chat records, which were so lengthy and impressive that the more I read, the colder I felt. My dear brother, if you don't obey me, I will punish you by not letting you touch me for a week. We agreed to use a condom, but you just didn't listen. What if I get pregnant? Hey, it's not fun to carry that thing. Good brother, look at this lace sexy underwear, is it nice? Let's not talk about whether it looks good or not. I just want to tear it apart and make you cry and yell for hurry up like last time. The content of the chat was extremely explicit and ambiguous, and included a large number of private photos of the wife, and even various unbearable voices. Her fiancé lives next door, but she flirts with other men in bed. She usually pretends to be pure and traditional. Is there any woman more disgusting than this? I really wanted to rush into the bathroom and ask her what kind of person she was. I even want to ask her in person, what have I done to let her down that makes her treat me like this? I suppressed my nausea and flipped back to find the content about myself. Do you really belong only to me? How could your fiancé bear to leave such a beautiful wife? I have to endure it even if I can't help it. Last time, that idiot tried to force himself on me. I almost made him a eunuch. He has been a good boy since then. Let's put it this way. He is my cash machine, my slave, my bootlicker. I will kick him out when I don't need him anymore. In addition to the chat records, I also found some things in the memo. The general meaning is that my wife is pregnant and my husband wants her to have an abortion, but she wants to give birth to the baby secretly because the illegitimate child also has the right to inherit the property, and she plans to make me the scapegoat. Although I was mentally prepared, when I saw the truth with my own eyes, my limbs instantly turned cold, as if I had fallen into an ice cave. My father and Sophia's father were comrades in arms, and their families were neighbors. Our birthdays were only 3 days apart, and we got engaged when we were less than a year old. We can be said to have grown up in the same bed. They grew up together, studied together, worked in the same city after graduation, and lived under the same roof, but their intimacy was limited to holding hands. She always said that she would save the most precious things for the wedding night, which was a way of being responsible for love and marriage. Under the influence of modern thinking, after several unsuccessful attempts to make a breakthrough, I no longer had any ideas. I respected her ideas and felt that God had been kind to me by sending me a clean and simple girl. But what is the result? She is reserved and noble in front of me, and even blushes when she sees kissing scenes in movies. She has the image of the purest girl in the world. But behind my back, she is more wild and spends more time than anyone else. In the end, not only did I become the biggest clown in the world, but she also plotted against me to become a father. The more I thought about it, the angrier I got. I was about to explode. Hearing the water rushing in the bathroom, I couldn't bear it any longer and pushed open the bathroom door. The wife, who was taking a bath, was startled, and then her expression became happy and charming. "Bad husband, you can't help it now? How about?" Seeing the kiss marks on my wife's chest not only stung my eyes, but also made me feel unprecedentedly nauseous, which also made me calm down. No, now is not the time to be angry, I have to endure it. I suppressed my nausea and looked away, then gave a dry laugh and pointed to the razor on the sink. The company just arranged for me to go on a business trip before I die, and I'm in a hurry to leave. After saying that, I grabbed the razor and walked out of the bathroom. The moment I turned around, I saw the lost expression on my wife's face. Damn it, you want me to be a father? No way. In the following time, I tried every possible way and finally found out who that man was. The adulterer is the wife's boss, David, who is 52 years old and the father of 2 children. His eldest daughter is 5 years older than his wife, and his second wife is currently pregnant. He is almost old enough to be a grandfather, but he is still hooking up with young girls. His second married wife is pregnant. This bastard is really not a human being. During this period, I not only thoroughly investigated the relationship between the two, but also used technical means to obtain the surveillance footage of the hotel where they checked into the hotel and the chat records on my wife's mobile phone. I originally wanted to send these things to David's wife, but then I thought it would be too easy for them. I must make them both lose their reputation and be doomed to failure. Only in this way can I get rid of the anger in my heart. As time went by, my wife became more and more anxious for me to become a father. She called me 800 times a day asking me when I would be back. Not only that, he also sent me various bed photos every day to seduce me. Okay. The more you want me to go back, the less I will go back. When I appear in front of you, I will give you a big surprise. Just wait. On that day, I monitored through the software that the two of them had agreed to go to the hot springs in the name of a business trip. I knew the opportunity had come, and I followed my wife immediately. As soon as the two met, the adulterer pressed his wife in the car and started biting her wildly. After a few minutes, he pulled her to the back seat of the car, and then the car began to shake violently. At this time, we must find some trouble for them and let them fight each other first. I first sent David a text message using my new number, "Your baby did not have an abortion." Then he called again, and hung up after the call was connected. Sure enough, the next second I saw 2 people arguing in the car. The wife ran out of the car in dishevel and tried to escape but was caught by the adulterer. She was taken to the hospital, had an abortion, and returned home pale and filled with grief and anger. In the evening, I returned home and saw my wife sitting on the sofa with a bad face. She pretended to be stupid and said, "Honey, what's wrong with you? Why do you look so bad? Do you want to go to the hospital?" When she heard the word hospital, my wife's face changed again. She coldly threw the pillow in her hand at me, rushed into the bedroom and slammed the door. Roll. That ferocious and disgusted look was completely different from the one a few days ago when he wanted me to be his scapegoat, like a bitch in heat. Don't be impatient. Letting the two of you fight each other is just the first step. The best is yet to come. I looked at my wife's door with a sneer on my face. At this moment, my cell phone rang. The call was from David, and I hung up without thinking. A few minutes later he called me again and I hung up again. This happened several times. Finally he sent me a text message, 1 million. I kept the matter to myself. I know why David is so anxious. He is actually a live-in son-in-law of his second wife. He is where he is today thanks to his wife's full support. Once she knows that he is cheating on her, the consequences will be very serious. I chose to ignore it and just took off the new card. Don't worry, let the bullets fly for a while and let the scumbag and adulterer worry about it. After the abortion, his wife stayed at home to take care of him, and at the same time she became a shrew, sending David several messages every day. "David, what do you mean? I listened to you and had the baby aborted, and now you treat me like this, treating me like air? I fucking betrayed my childhood fiancé and gave you my first time, and this is what I got in return. Is this fair to me?" I monitored my wife's chat content. The other party had not replied to her since they separated in the hospital. She called, but her number was blocked. She was so angry that she had no place to vent it, so she used me as a punching bag and treated me coldly. When cooking, there was either not enough salt or it was too salty. When it was late, she would scold me and ask if I was going to starve her to death. When she didn't close the door properly when changing clothes, she would accuse me of peeping at her. In short, even my breathing was wrong.
What are you looking at me for? Calling you a waste is unfair to you? Look at my girlfriends.
Their boyfriends are either officials or second-generation rich. They live in villas, are picked up and dropped off by cars when they go out, eat delicacies from land and sea, wear private high-end clothes, and have 8 nannies to serve them every day.
What about you? What did you give me?
A 50-square-meter rental house, clothes from a cheap stall. I was so blind that I rejected countless outstanding boys chasing me just for you.
Well, the wife immediately turned into a shrew and kept chattering. In fact, Sophia used to be innocent and simple.
When she was in college, many rich second-generation men pursued her. However, no matter what means they used, she remained unmoved. I often tease her about this, saying that she is losing a lot by giving up a whole forest for my crooked tree. But she said, "In this life you are my person and in death you are my ghost, and we were tied together since birth." I have always believed that two people are each other's only ones in this life. It was not until I confirmed that she had cheated on me and saw those explicit and disgusting chat records that I realized she had fallen in this materialistic age and was no longer the pure and simple Sophia I knew. These days, I let my wife do whatever she wanted and pretended not to hear anything, waiting for further developments between her and her adulterer so that I could take action again.
This attitude angered his wife. Are you dead? I'm talking to you.
Your father and mother are such losers. I could turn a deaf ear to her scolding me, but she couldn't tolerate scolding my parents.
Shut up, what are you talking about? You have the right to talk about my parents? Ever since we can remember, we have always obeyed her in everything.
Even though she has a bad temper, I never want to scold her back when she scolds me.
So she was immediately shocked and angry. You yelled at me? How dare you yell at me?
I sneered in my heart. If it wasn't for the follow-up plan, not only would I yell at you, I would also want to beat you to death.
What's wrong with me yelling at you?
Sophia, look at yourself. You're materialistic, lazy, unreasonable, and when something goes wrong, you're just like a shrew and won't stop.
Think about it yourself. You are not even half as good as you were before. Do you know that? You have become the person you once hated. You are particularly ugly now.
I have always held her in high esteem, treating her like a princess. Over time, she really began to think of herself as a princess, always having a sense of superiority. After I said that, she was completely furious. Michael, you are a poor loser with no money and no power.
What else can you do besides being a bootlicker? What else? Who do you think you are? How dare you say that to me?
You will regret this. Even if you crawl at my feet like a dog and beg me, I will not turn back. After saying that, the wife slammed the door and left. I calmly inserted the SIM card and dozens of text messages popped up instantly.
1 million is not negotiable. Just name the price. Who the hell are you? What the hell do you want? Speak up.
Brother, please, say something. I'll give you 10 million to keep this matter to yourself.
10 million deal. A smile appeared on the corner of my mouth.
That scumbag slept with my wife, it's not too much for me to charge him some money, right? Soon, I received 10 million in my private card, but the words honesty and trustworthiness are used for upright people, and scumbags are not worthy of them. I installed a special Trojan horse in my wife's mobile phone, and I know everything she does. After running away from home, she stayed in a hotel. Maybe the idiot David felt that 10 million had settled me, so he became active again and the two of them got in touch again. The scumbag said, "I can't hold it back anymore, today I'm going to make sure you can't close your legs." I know the time has come to make it unforgettable for both of them. I contacted 2 good friends and rushed to the hotel where my wife was half an hour later, and lied that it was the waiter who knocked on the door. The person who opened the door was David, wrapped in a bath towel, with a look of anger and impatience, obviously being interrupted while doing something.
You're knocking my soul.
Without waiting for him to finish his words, I saw that ugly face and all the anger I had accumulated over the past few days instantly exploded, and I kicked him.
Fuck you.
David was caught off guard and was kicked and fell to the ground. At my call, 2 brothers rushed up with me, raised their fists and started hitting him, especially in the face. In just a few hits, he was beaten into a pig's head and his face was so swollen that even his mother couldn't recognize him.
Fuck, who the hell are you? Do you know who I am? If you dare to hit me, I'll kill you. The three of us didn't say anything and the beating only got worse. David wanted to fight back but he couldn't and could only hold his head and take the beating. After the beating, I finally vented some of the anger that I had been holding back for so many days. At this time, my wife, who was curled up in bed, realized that it was me, and her eyes almost popped out. Why are you here? I laughed. I endured humiliation for so many days, wasn't it just for today? As your fiancé, am I not worthy of catching you cheating? Sophia, didn't you say that the most precious things should be saved for the wedding night? Didn't you say that this is the most basic respect for you? So what are you doing now? Fuck you, you pretend to be a chaste woman in front of me. As my wife, you won't even let me kiss you, but behind my back you're like a bitch in heat, rolling around in bed with other men. Do you still have any shame? My wife not only had no sense of shame in bed with me, but she also blamed me. Isn't it because you are useless and can't give me the life I want? Otherwise, would I look for someone else? You have the nerve to blame me, why don't you reflect on your own problems? I was furious and started swearing. Sophia, you said he could be your father, but you're still having sex with a man like him. There's no one more despicable than you in the world. You're worse than a chicken. Sophia was not to be outdone, she jumped up and down and yelled, you are the cheap one, your whole family is cheap, your whole family is a bunch of whores. What's wrong with being old? I'm happy to let him sleep with me. He's richer than you. Not only did I let him sleep with me for more than a year, I also got pregnant with his child. We're going to get married in the future. Still want to marry a scumbag old man? I laughed. These days I have spent have not been wasted. I don't know the details of this old scumbag, but he is still showing off to me? I glanced at the brothers who were still beating the old scumbag and signaled them to stop, then I took a lot of photos and short videos. Anyway, the relationship has been torn apart, and the wife is even more confident. From this moment on, we have nothing to do with each other. If you don't get out of here in 1 minute, I will sue you for violating my privacy. Pfft, sue me for invasion of privacy? Ask him if he dares? I sneered at David and said, do you dare? Or, what will be the consequences if your wife finds out that you are having an affair outside? David's face changed instantly when he heard this. In fact, his wife's family treated him very well. They were afraid of gossip, so they called him a live-in son-in-law. Few people knew about this. How do you know these things? I smiled. That's not important. What's important is that you are where you are today thanks to your wife and her family. Although your father-in-law is gone, there are still many people in that family, including your wife's cousins. David's face showed anger when he heard this, and he was obviously dissatisfied with my threat, but suddenly he seemed to think of something. Before, wasn't it you who told me that Sophia was pregnant and blackmailed me for 10 million? I sneered, don't say that. Blackmail is illegal. I'm a 5 good citizen. That's what you gave me. When Sophia heard that I was the one who told David that I did not have an abortion, she instantly became furious and pounced on me with her teeth bared. Asshole, you killed my child, I will fight you. Roll. I kicked Sophia away without mercy. I treated you like a treasure, but you cheated on me and even wanted me to be your father. I have been blind all these years. The old scumbag blocked the furious Sophia behind him, took a deep breath and looked at me. Tell me how much money you want, as long as it's not too much, I will satisfy you. It's about money again. I instantly got angry again and slapped him in the face. Money, you really think you can do whatever you want just because you have a few bucks, right? This old bastard, when chatting with my wife, often said that I was just a poor guy and not worthy of her. Now that I caught him cheating on me in bed, he still acts so high and mighty and looks like he is rich. Do you really think that money can solve everything? The old scumbag covered his face, which was swollen like a pig's head, and dared not speak out but to be angry. So what do you want? I thought about it, looked at my wife who was in the arms of the old scumbag, who wanted to eat me, and said leisurely, it's easy to make me keep my mouth shut. Just slap her 10 times. The wife flew into a rage. Michael, are you still human? I never thought you were such a despicable, shameless, dirty trash. Thinking about the time I spent with you over the years, I feel extremely disgusted now. Do you think everyone is as selfish as you, and that he will deal with me if I threaten or sow discord with him? You must be dreaming. He loves me, so how could he bear to hit me? My wife talked incessantly, cursing and despising me, but halfway through her words, the old scumbag pushed her out of his arms and slapped her hard in the face. The blow was swift, accurate and ruthless, leaving a clear slap mark on my wife's face. I grinned like a scumbag. Well done, 9 more. The wife was stunned by the beating and was not awakened until the second slap in the face woke her up. David, you dare to hit me.
The wife let out a heart-wrenching cry, and she screamed and rushed over to bite and kick the old scumbag, acting even more shrewish than a shrew, forming a sharp contrast with her sweet appearance. "Asshole, he said you can hit me, so how could you hit me? I gave you my first time, I had an abortion for you, and you said you would love me forever, you beast, you don't keep your word, I will fight you." Soon, the old scumbag's arm was bitten blue and purple, which made the other party angry and slapped him hard again. "It's because you were careless and got discovered. Otherwise, why would you be threatened by him? If my wife knew about this, the sky would fall." After saying that, the old scumbag turned and looked at me. "Brother, I am also a victim. At first, she took the initiative to seduce me while on a business trip. She ran into my room late at night and said she was itchy. The wife was instantly angry and ashamed. She screamed and beat the old scumbag with a red face, leaving several bloody scratches on his face. Okay. This kind of dog-eat-dog scene makes me feel extremely comfortable, watching people fighting each other. In order to satisfy me, the old scumbag had no intention of showing any mercy to my wife. He just grabbed my wife and slapped her again and again, each time with greater force. This scumbag probably transferred all his anger that he didn't dare to vent on me to my wife. When he finished beating her, her face was swollen like a pig's head and there was blood flowing from the corners of her mouth. I have no sympathy for this. Is that enough? If not, I'll do it 10 more times. David's face turned pale and he looked at me coldly. 10 slaps would just make them fight each other and insult their wives. 10 more slaps would be meaningless. That's enough. I'm leaving now. After I finished speaking, I looked at my wife who was beaten to a pulp and said, "Sophia, from now on, we are officially separated. I wish you and Mr. David a happy marriage and a baby soon." As soon as my brother and I walked into the hallway, my wife's hysterical roar came from the room. "David, you beast, how dare you humiliate me like this? I will fight you." Then there were the sounds of the two men fighting and swearing at each other. "Michael, you're just going to let it go after being cuckolded like this? Isn't that too easy for that couple?" The good brother couldn't help but ask. I smiled coldly. How is that possible? If I don't ruin their reputation, I'm not Michael. This is just the beginning. Short videos are a good thing these days. The two brothers on the side immediately gave a thumbs up when they heard this. "Brother, well done. We can be honest, but we can't be bullied." At 3 o'clock that evening, a video of a 52-year-old company boss cheating on his subordinate and being caught by the woman's fiancé began to spread online. As for what I promised David, I just forgot about it. A scumbag like him is not worthy of my keeping my promise. After a few hours of fermentation, the short video had already reached the top of the trending search list during the day. David's wife and family were furious and immediately posted a message saying that they would go live to deal with the scum. On that day, more than 4 million people watched the live broadcast online. David knelt in the luxurious villa. Dozens of his wife's family members took turns beating him, and the old scum was beaten to a bloody mess and dying. As for Sophia, she must have been scared to death when she saw the live broadcast. She didn't come back to me, and didn't dare go back to her hometown. Based on her cell phone location and chat content monitoring, I knew that she went to hide with her best friend. In the evening, her mother called. "Michael, what happened between you and Sophia? She called you last night and said she had broken up with you and was going out of town. Don't contact her for a while." Then she lost contact. Obviously, the older generation didn't use their phones much and didn't know what had happened. Sophia was afraid that the truth would be revealed and she wouldn't be able to hold her head up in front of her family and relatives, so she hid away. I asked tentatively, "Auntie, didn't she tell you the reason why we broke up?" Her mother said helplessly, "No. Michael, I don't know what happened between you, but it's normal for young couples to quarrel. As a man, you should be more tolerant of her. I'm not saying anything bad about you. Although you haven't obtained a marriage certificate, you have been engaged since birth and have been married since childhood. There was a wedding banquet. In our eyes, you are husband and wife. How can you break up just like that? Damn it, you don't know anything, but you're putting the blame on me. What are you afraid of? If you knew what your daughter did, would you still have the nerve to lecture me like this?" I pretended to be depressed. "Auntie, maybe I did something wrong. I can't satisfy Sophia in everything. She said she wanted to break up, and I can't do anything about it. How about I go back tomorrow and our two families sit together to cancel the engagement?" Sophia's mother got anxious when she heard this. "Nonsense. If you find her, I will come over and ask her if she wants to go to heaven." I hung up the phone and saw through the mobile phone monitoring Trojan that Sophia had a high-speed rail ticket for 8 p.m., so I quickly sent a text message to her mother, asking her to arrive before 8 p.m. I did this not to save the relationship, but to let her parents know what kind of person their daughter is, and it was not my fault. At 7 o'clock, I arrived at the waiting room and saw from a distance that Sophia wrapped herself tightly, fearing that she would be recognized by others. Asshole, you hurt me so badly, what else do you want to do? Get back together? Forget it, I won't be with you even if it means being with a dog. Seeing me, Sophia growled in a low voice through gritted teeth. I couldn't help but sneer. Sophia, where do you get the confidence to think that I'm looking for you to get back together? Also, the dog is so cute, please don't insult it, okay? My words were not particularly hurtful but extremely insulting, and they deeply irritated Sophia. However, she was afraid of being discovered by others, so she was furious but did not dare to be overly angry. Michael, no matter what I did, I was not wrong. After all, I am a woman, and in this society, women can do no wrong. I finally understood why she changed. It turned out that she was harmed by the poisonous chicken soup on the internet. For the sake of follow-up plans, I nodded and said, yes, you are a fairy, how can you be wrong? Everything is my fault. Seeing that my attitude was better than ever, Sophia became more and more confident. Don't think that if you admit your mistakes to me, I will forgive you and make peace with you. Don't even think about it. I still say that even if you kneel down and beg me, I will not turn back. I smiled and said, I know. She glared at me and said, then you can go away and stop affecting my mood. Halfway through her words, Sophia was grabbed by the clothes from behind, and my eyes suddenly lit up. Good, David's wife finally arrived on time, and it was worth it that I informed her in time that Sophia was going to escape. Who the hell are you? Sophia didn't realize the seriousness of the situation and started cursing. The next second, David's wife ripped off her mask and sunglasses and confirmed her identity. The original wife was extremely jealous when she saw the mistress. Okay, Sophia, I finally found you. Let me introduce myself. I'm David's wife. When Sophia heard that it was David's wife, she was so scared that she lost her soul. Subconsciously he wanted to hide behind me, but how could I do that? I had already joined the crowd of spectators. David's wife did not come alone. There were 7 or 8 people, men and women, who immediately surrounded Sophia. Aren't you ashamed to sleep with a man older than your father? Is it fun to destroy other people's families? You shameless slut, you're scared now, what were you doing in the first place? David's wife gritted her teeth and slapped him every time he said something, more than a dozen times in a row. Sophia was beaten by Sue Ruffing a few days ago. Her face hadn't healed yet, but it was swollen beyond recognition again. She was pinned to the ground and cried heartbreakingly. Despite this, David's wife still had no intention of letting her go. You said I was an old sow that no one wanted. I've drooped when I should, and I've done what I should do. I'm not as white or as big as you shameless bitch. Well, today I'm going to show everyone how white and big you are. As she was talking, David's wife asked someone to strip Sophia's clothes off, but Sophia was scared. Being beaten was nothing, but if she was stripped naked in a place like the station, she would be too ashamed to live like a human being. No, husband, save me, I will listen to you from now on. Sophia was desperate and struggled to come over and hugged my legs. I kicked her out coldly. Get lost. Who the hell are you? Do I know you? You're calling me husband. At this time, many onlookers had recognized Sophia as the heroine of the previous popular video, and they took out their mobile phones to take photos and videos. Some of the older women started spitting at her and calling her all kinds of dirty names. David's wife was pregnant and it was inconvenient for her to move, so those relatives and friends tore off Sophia's clothes frantically. Sophia held on to her clothes tightly and cried for help. But how could she be a match for a group of people? She was dragged on the ground by her hair, and her clothes were torn to pieces. She looked so miserable. Just when she was about to be stripped naked, a figure rushed over from the crowd and pounced on Sophia. Who are you and why did you hit my daughter? A smile appeared on my face in the crowd. Sophia's mother finally arrived and the show began. Sophia finally saw her savior and curled up in her mother's arms, crying loudly. David's wife sneered, why beat her? That's a good question. Because your daughter is a shameless mistress, is that enough reason? Sophia's mother was furious, you are talking nonsense. My daughter has been well behaved since she was a child. How could she do such a shameless thing? Before she could finish her words, David's wife turned on her phone, found the video and played it live. Open your eyes and take a good look. Is the woman in the video that was caught cheating by her fiancé and posted online your daughter? For a moment, Sophia's mother was stunned. Sophia's mother couldn't believe that it was her daughter. David's wife sneered, took out some papers from her bag and threw them at her face. Then take a closer look at these. At the same time, David's wife's relatives and friends also took out some papers and distributed them to the onlookers. I also got a copy while hiding in the crowd. Good job. I just exclaimed, great guy. I thought I had uncovered Sophia thoroughly, but now it seems that I was too narrow-minded. It was full of explicit conversations between her and David, as well as large-scale photos. Apparently they had some secrets that I didn't know about, but were dug out by David's wife. People at the scene were talking about the topic, some were pointing fingers at Sophia and her daughter, some were taking photos and posting them on their moments and short videos. It is conceivable that it won't be long before Sophia becomes all the rage on the internet again. Sophia's mother was completely stunned. She stared at the things in her hands and her whole body was shaking. She was as ashamed as she was screaming just now. She didn't even have the courage to look up. David's wife continued to get close to his face and opened her mouth. Did you see clearly? This is your good daughter. You didn't expect how coquettish and slutty she is when you can't see her. More and more people gathered around, some even started to scold Sophia for being shameless and saying that her mother did not teach her well. The mother and daughter were extremely ashamed and angry but dared not say a word. The two men covered their faces with clothes and were about to leave the scene, but after taking a few steps, David's wife tore off their clothes. Bitch, now you feel ashamed, what were you doing before? And did I let you go? Sophia finally couldn't hold it anymore and cried and yelled, I've beaten you and scolded you, my reputation has been ruined, what else do you want? David's wife looked at her with disdain and chuckled, did that old scumbag say he loved you and wanted to marry you, and you made a solemn vow? Sophia remained silent, and David's wife continued, you've been deceived. That old bastard has 4 other women outside. He has played with no less than 100 women over the years. In other words, you are just a tool for him to satisfy his sexual desires, no different from a prostitute in a club. Sophia was shocked when she heard this, and she was completely stunned. After saying that, David's wife spat at Sophia and turned away with her people. Seeing that the real person had left, Sophia's mother, with a face full of shame and anger, hurriedly tried to pull her daughter who was still in a daze. Shameless thing, what are you still standing there for? Don't you think you haven't lost enough face? Get back here right now. You have brought shame upon our family. A few days later, the news leaked online. David has been kicked out of his wife's family, and even his 2 daughters from his ex-wife publicly severed their father-daughter relationship with him online out of shame. Later, someone said that they saw David under the overpass, but it is unknown whether it is true or not. After seeing the news, I felt happier than ever before. I called a few good friends together to celebrate for 3 days. Such a big thing has happened, I must go back and explain it to my parents. Unexpectedly, as soon as I got home, her parents shamelessly came uninvited and asked me if I could forgive Sophia. Forgive me. In an instant, 1,000 horses were galloping through my heart. If they hadn't been my elders, I would have cursed at them. However, before I could say anything, my mother got angry first. My daughter did such a shameless thing, and now the whole village knows about it. Who gave you the courage to ask my daughter to forgive you? Sophia's mother still refused to give up. Michael, you two have been engaged since birth, and you have always been very good to her. Auntie knows that you are a good boy, so can't you forgive her this time? Her father said firmly, no matter what, we had a banquet when we got engaged, and according to custom you are now husband and wife. You didn't take good care of your woman. You can't blame my Sophia for this. You can't abandon her either. No, do you want this couple to listen to what they are saying? My own daughter is unfaithful to her husband and becomes a mistress, but she turns around and blames me for not valuing her well. After that, she even uses moral blackmail to make me marry her. How can a human being do this? I was furious, but I laughed at the way my brain was deceived by this family. Uncle, aunt, I'm a good person, but I'm not a cuckold. I can still marry your precious daughter even if I'm cheated on. I wanted to say something, but my dad stopped me and looked at the other couple. Mr. David, we have been brothers for half our lives, but today we will end our relationship. We will never have any contact with each other again. Your precious daughter is too high for us to marry. My mother couldn't help it at this moment and started cursing. My daughter is shameless and has become a mistress. Everyone knows about it and our family has become a joke. You are so shameless that you want my son to marry your daughter. Do you still have any shame? Really, you should be thankful for this era. If it were 200 years ago, I would have arrested your daughter and thrown her into a pig cage. After being scolded by my mother, Sophia's parents covered their faces and went back. A few minutes later, I heard Sophia's father cursing from next door. What a disgrace! How could I have given birth to such a shameless thing? Get out! Get out now! I'll kill you if I see you.
Then Sophia burst into tears. Just go away, I will never come back to this house again. I thought the matter was over, but more than a month later, I saw a piece of news. A homeless man somewhere stabbed a woman to death with a steel bar. I recognized it was Sophia at a glance from the photos taken at the scene. The murderer was caught on the spot, and it was none other than David. Apparently, David thought that Sophia had ruined everything for him, and out of desperation he took the path of revenge. What's funny is that Sophia wanted to marry David and become a rich and powerful woman, but in the end she died at his hands. I guess she never dreamed that this would be the ending? Since then, my life has been back on track.